What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a vintage and modern CGC-graded Star Wars comic market update. I don't do these that often, but I thought it was worth pointing out a few interesting items that I found that have sold on eBay over the last, I don't know, week or so. And as I've talked about in past videos, the comic market is taking a breather, so to speak. In the stock market, people talk about a bear market when it hits a 20% drop or more. And I would say that that's where we are right now with graded Star Wars comics. The market has certainly dropped from the May or June peaks. That's about when the market was at its very, very height. They had had a nice run up in prices between, I'd say, beginning of the year and all the way until May or June. And prices were just jumping like crazy. And since then, the prices have come back down slowly. And I would say easily 20 to 25% has been the market drop since those peaks. And I think a lot of that has to do with things getting back to normal, people spending their money, their disposable income on other things. But I feel like the market for graded comics has definitely dropped a lot more than, say, the action figure market. The action figure market is flatlined or flattened for the most part, but there are exceptions with really high grade stuff, as we've talked about in many, many past videos. But I want to go through these, and then you guys can share your thoughts, your comments below, if you collect comics, what you're seeing in the market. But for me, I feel like the prices have come back down a little bit. So the first one I'm going to start with is Star Wars number 41. All of these, just incidentally, are graded in a 9.8 grade. It's just for apples to apples comparison. It's a lot easier for me to track that information. I'm not being a comic snob, as I've talked about in past videos. But anyway, this was a 9.8 Star Wars number 41. And, if you're not aware, the significance of this book is that this is the first cameo appearance of Yoda. So this is the Empire Strikes Back kind of movie adaptation book, and or one of them. This is listed as it looks like part 3 of, bear with me, part 3 of the Empire Strikes Back. So this is when Yoda makes his first appearance. It's a cameo in kind of shadows, so you don't really see a lot of them. Nevertheless, people kind of view this as the first cameo appearance of Yoda. And it's not nearly as big a book as Star Wars number 42, obviously, since that is the first appearance of Boba Fett. But it's a big, big book still, and prices have come back down just a little bit. This was listed for $550. Best offer accepted. I'm assuming it's around $500, and that's about where this has been selling elsewhere, like on Facebook as well as on Certified Link, or excuse me, Comic Link. One sold in an auction at exactly almost $500. So that's about the going rate right now. Now, at the peak, what was that price? It was more like $600 to $650. So it's come back down a good solid 20% or more. But anyway, it's a nice book, and one that it's on my radar. I don't know if I'll ever get it, but it's one it's got a great cover. It shows the Millennium Falcon being pursued by the Imperial Star Destroyer in the asteroid field. So a great cover. It does not have Yoda on the cover, obviously, but nevertheless, a very cool book. Another one that is definitely a really popular book and is still holding steady, I would say. I wouldn't say it's necessarily come down that much, is this one. This is Knights of the Old Republic number 42. The significance of this book is that this is the origin of Darth Revan, and we're going to get to his first full appearance comic a little bit later on and how strong that has been. But nevertheless, this Malik Unleashed cover is great. It's got a Mandalorian kind of firing there, and it is listed as the origin of Revan. And this one was listed for $995. Best offer accepted. I'm assuming $900 to $925-ish is probably the right number. And that's about where it's been. It hasn't really gone up or down really over the last few months. It's been holding pretty steady at about $900. So that gives you kind of a price point there. It seems like Darth Revan he's always been a popular character, but people are more and more starting to think that we're going to see some sort of Darth Revan appearance either in his own TV show or in one of the series. I don't know which one would make the most sense, but he's a character that I think is ripe for a little bit more, fleshing out his character. And Sony recently, I think, announced that there's going to be a remake of Knights of the Old Republic, so we'll probably see him there as well. So, but it's an interesting book, and it's in the Dark Horse era back in 2009, but a beautiful cover. This one was an interesting one. So this is The Rise of Kylo Ren number 3, which I've talked about in past videos. His standard cover, and this is the first cameo appearance of Avar Kriss, who is obviously a big presence within the latest Marvel kind of universe of of Star Wars, and it's a modern book, but it's the first appearance of Avar Kriss. But what makes this one special is that this is the 1 in 25 retail incentive variant, and you don't see this one come up that much, and the price reflected that. So this is the more desirable cover. For every one of the standard cover, or excuse me, for every 25 of the standard cover, only one of this cover was made or printed. And the winning bid was a big number, $417. I mean, we're starting to get into vintage Marvel comics with those prices, and it's a big book though. And the first time I've actually seen this one come up for sale, it had 24 bids. It closed on September 14th, so 3 days ago. But a big number at $417 for that one. So another one that I really like is this one. This is the fourth print of Darth Vader #3, which of course is Dr. Aphra and her two droids' first appearance. The first printing, which I have, has really flatlined. It hasn't moved at all. But this fourth printing that you see here has the purple background, and it's a beautiful cover. Obviously, the same cover, it's just got different colors to the background on the cover. But this fourth printing was not printed in heavy numbers, and that price reflects it. It goes for over double what the first printing does. So this one sold for $919 and change with free shipping. So the fourth printing, other than the 1 in 25 ratio variant, the Laraka cover, this one is the most expensive for all the for all the Dr. Aphra first appearance comics. Another one that I thought was somewhat interesting was this one. This is Darth Vader's #6 and 7 from 2020. I have, I think I have this one here that I got in a trade with Chris W. That's #6, which is his first cameo appearance of Ochi of Bestoon, the Sith assassin. And then Darth Vader #7, which you see here, is his first full appearance. Now, what's interesting is that these sold for $200 and plus shipping of $15, so $215. And I would wager that if you were patient for an auction, even if you bought these separately, which you don't see them come up together like this, ever, but buying them separately, I think, makes more sense than paying $215 for these two. I think that you could probably get these for between $60 and $80 a piece, which would, even with factoring in double shipping, I think that would allow you to get both of these for less expensive than whoever bought these two for $215. So just my personal opinion on that, but I think that $60 to $70, maybe $80 on the top end for these each would be kind of a top price point and still allow you to get both of these for less expensive. But it seems like Ochi of Bestoon is kind of a minor character, a minor key, so to speak. But people are starting to think that we might see Ochi make an appearance at some point in some of the upcoming Disney Plus content. Here's another one that I have in my collection. This is Kanan, the Last Padawan, and you want to talk about a book that is absolutely flatline. It's this one. I think it's because this label is still the old label that lists the Rebels team as the first appearance, when really it's just a cameo on one page, as I've talked about. It's still really the true full appearance of Kanan, but this CGC has since stopped labeling this as the first full appearance of, or the first appearance, of the Rebels team, and have moved that over to Kanan #6. But this book, I mean, gosh, it got up into the 400s at one point. But this one, the winning bid was $255 plus shipping. That's actually slightly less than what I paid for mine. So this book is really flatlined, I think, because collectors in general are gravitating towards Kanan #6, which is the first full appearance. That's already been recognized by CBCS, the other grading company. But just recently, CGC has also moved over to that labeling, which I think is right. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Another one that is really also flatlined is this one. This is Kanan #1, but this is the second printing that has the kind of darker background, the stars in the background, instead of having, the ships. I'll scroll back here, but you can see Kanan here is shown on the first printing, whereas in the second printing, it just shows the ship along with a black sky with stars. So that one sold for $280 on 7 bids. That just closed 4 days ago. But that number is way low. I mean, that thing is probably a good solid 60% less than the peak price for this book back in May or June. So it's really come down. So I think if you're looking for Kanan 1, either the first or the second print, now is a great time to do it. They're both fantastic books still. And me personally, I would love to get the second print just because it would match nicely with my first print. But now is definitely the time to be looking for that one. I think that's a great buy right now. Thrawn, number 1. This is kind of the first origin of Thrawn. It's kind of his first solo comic series. This is one I also do have, and I paid almost the exact same price, just slightly less. But that book is really flatlined. I haven't seen any kind of movement there as well. So it just seems to be kind of the narrative right now that Star Wars books are in a lull period, and I think it's because of the lack of new information. There just hasn't been much other than rumors and speculation that's out there right now. But really, in terms of the upcoming Disney Plus content, we're not seeing much news out there, and I think that'll change here over the next few months. I think you probably got a nice, good, solid month, maybe 2, maybe even 3-month window before the media machine or the press release machine really starts to pick up with trailers and things like that for Book of Boba Fett, which is, as of right now, to my knowledge, scheduled for a December release. So it seems like the bounty hunters, like Bosk's first full appearance comic, which we've talked about, Star Wars number 71, in the original vintage run, that one's really taken off. But a lot of these other characters that we're not going to start seeing until next year, like Thrawn, those books have really just kind of flatlined. And others that are more speculative in nature, like the Rebels team that we just talked about, or even some of the side characters that we might see in the Ahsoka series. Everything is kind of just at a flat price point right now. A few others that are not particularly related to first appearances or anything like that, but I just thought they were kind of cool to show. This was one that was signed by John Morton, who played Boba Fett in the Bespin scenes in the original Empire Strikes Back film. We just saw this same book, I think, recently sell with a signature. It was signed by Dickie Beers, who's the stuntman for Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi, but this one was signed by John Morton, who played the actual actor in some of the Bespin scenes. But that was it's a really great cover. It's a modern book with a vintage, so to speak, actor. That one only sold for $100. I thought that was a great buy and a really great cover. But it's got that yellow label, signature series, so it's been authenticated by CGC as having been witnessed, as having been signed by John Morton. Another really cool one was this one. This was Star Wars blank number 1. So this was a blank cover, but it was a full sketch that was signed by Nick Justice, the actor. And then it was also signed by Ashley Eckstein, who is the voice actor for Ahsoka Tano in the Star Wars Clone Wars cartoon show. So it's double signed, and it also took that blank cover, which is like a blank white cover, with an awesome custom one-of-a-kind Ahsoka drawing. So that's a really, really cool item that's kind of one of one type thing, and just a fantastic item. And the price reflected that. I think any comic book that is a 9.8 signed by Ashley Eckstein that's related to Ahsoka, I mean, the prices are really, really high. And this one was no exception. $865 on 36 bids. That just closed on September 12th. So I just wanted to show it because it's kind of a unique item that we probably will never see again. So I thought it was worth pointing out. Another really nice one was this one. This was Star Wars Age of the Republic Count Dooku number 1. But this is the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant with ObiWan Kenobi on the front. And it was signed by Ewan McGregor, the actor, obviously, who played Obi-Wan in the newer trilogy, the early 2000s trilogy. So what a cool item. And anything signed by Ewan McGregor in terms of comics, or Samuel Jackson, or some of the big name actors, Hayden Christensen, those all go for big money. But this one was a really big number. This one was $1,200 plus shipping. So that gives you kind of a price point there for some of these really unique autographed items. Now, here's one that I was a little surprised by. This is Star Wars Thrawn number 6, which I believe is the first appearance of Admiral Arlani from the Chiss Ascendancy. She's a character that has a very big role in the Timothy Zahn books. And I've seen this book regularly sell on Comic Link for about half this price. But this one was listed for $180 plus $10 shipping. And it did sell. So I was a little surprised by that number, just given that I think two copies with the exact same grade, exact same cover, sold for less than $90 on Comic Link last month. So Just an interesting data point to make sure to check all of the different possible areas where stuff is getting sold, because I think you can find it for cheaper than on eBay. Another one that has really kind of, it hasn't gone up too much, but it's one that is kind of been in that $500 range. And this is the first comic book appearance of Darth Revan and Darth Malak in cameo. So it's the cameo appearance, and I think it also plays in nicely to the fact that we've got a movie coming up for Rogue Squadron, and we have Wedge Antilles that's going to be in that, and so it's kind of a double play there on Darth Revan and his potential within live action on Disney Plus, as well as the Rogue One movie that is still kind of in early production. But anyway, that one sold for $500. Again, it's the first cameo of Darth Revan. Now, the first full appearance of Darth Revan is this book, and this book has really heated up. It's gone up quite a bit over the last week, few weeks. But this is Knights of the Old Republic #9. It's the first full appearance of Darth Revan. It's an epic cover, a very simple cover, but the artwork is just incredible. It's got kind of a contemplative Darth Revan on the cover there. But anyway, this one sold for $10.99, so about $1,100. And then another one a few days later sold for $11.25. And then a few days after that, it sold for $13.25. So we're talking, let's call that a 30% jump or so, 25 to 30% jump in like a week and a half to 2 weeks for that same comic book in the same grade. So clearly the market is saying that Darth Revan is hot. He's going to continue to get even hotter. I've seen this book very recently for sale in that grade on Facebook for $900. So to go from a $900 item all the way up to $13.25, that's a big swing. And clearly that's one of the few books right now that's not flatline and that's still on the upswing. That's all I really had for this video. I hope that you enjoyed taking a look at some of these modern and vintage comics that have sold here recently in the 9.8 grade, just so you can get a sense of what's going on in the market. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below. Please be sure to like, and please be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.